Hello, everyone. This is Phil. I'm here in Alberta, Canada, and we rent cars in Cancun and the Mayan Riviera every year, virtually every year. And so I thought I'd talk a little bit about our experience in the hope that perhaps you might find it interesting or learn some tips that could make your experience in the Mayan Riviera better, more enjoyable. So we fly out of Calgary, direct to Cancun. Always wonderful to see that glorious water from the plane as we come in. We land at Terminal 4, the new terminal. Very nice terminal, by the way. And because I've booked our vehicle online ahead of time, we have a representative from the rental company waiting in the appropriate area. And he's got a sign with our name on it, and we just walk up to him and get into the van, and he takes us to the rental agency. The one we use is America Car Rental. It's actually located off site, so it's about 2 miles or so away. I'm not endorsing them in particular. It's just the one that we've used, and we've used it about 8 times, and it seems to work for us. So whether there's someone out there better, I don't know, but they've been pretty good to us. Not perfect, but definitely good enough to use again. How did I find them? Just looked online and dig. Look at reviews and compare the different agencies' reviews and kind of sift through the really good ones and the really bad ones, and where does the bulk of the reviews lie? What's the major opinion about that place? Is my suggestion. Ask people who've rented down there and find out their experience. In Mexico, word of mouth goes a long ways. If you know somebody who knows something or knows a connection down there, that's a good thing. We go down for holiday, obviously. We love the water on that side of Mexico. We love the cenotes, the turtles, the fish. We're water people, so that's where we go. The water's warmer on that side. There's more reefs. And we also go to the dentist down there. We're self employed. We don't have benefits here in Canada, and in Alberta, the dental prices are ridiculous. So we go to Mexico. And I'll talk about that in another video for those of you that might be interested in the dentist. We've also gone to other medical professionals for various other procedures, laser eye surgery, and so on. So when we get to the rental agency, we go in to the counter, and behind the counter they speak good English. So we give them our ID, our passports, driver's license, so on. They photocopy everything. They bring up what our report on the internet, what I rented, and they get that all ready to go. They take a deposit. I view it as a kind of like a damage deposit on a rental of an apartment. They put some pretty big numbers on it because it's in pesos, so it's thousands and thousands of pesos on this credit card slip, the old slider credit card slips. And so it always is a little concerning when I see those big numbers on there and they're sticking it in their file. But so far, we've brought the car back in one piece, and they always rip that thing up. So no complaints there. Insurance wise, I get everything. I used to kind of debate and say, well, let's not get this and let's get that, and we don't need this and we might need that, and you just never know. So I just go, you know what, whatever, give it all to me. If I lose a hubcap, it's insured. I mean, all the way. And I don't even try to use my credit card insurance or anything like that. It's Mexico. Get Mexican insurance. Don't mess around with it. So once all the paperwork's done, we go out to get the vehicle. At our location, we encounter a timeshare salesman, and he offers us real American dollars to do a timeshare a few days later. We did it one time, and it was great. Great meal, great resort. Sounded pretty good. But my wife and I have a very hard policy that we do not purchase something on the phone, at the door, or at the table. Always, 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 we say, we're going to talk about it, we'll think about it, we'll get back to you. So we did that, and once they realized we were firm on that, they kind of got very cool and kicked us out and gave us our money, and we were happy, and they weren't so happy, but that's okay. So we're at the vehicle now, and they have a guy down there, a yard guy who takes you around the vehicle, and he points out to you all the dents and scratches and damage that may be on the vehicle. They're generally quite new vehicles, but they do get scratched and so on, that you've scratched or that someone else has scratched and they think that you scratched it. So they do a walk around with you and they mark on a piece of paper all the little scratches and little damages, windshields, dents, scratches, so on, that may be on there. This is where I feel it's very important to take out your phone and videotape this walk around. Take pictures and video of all this stuff. I actually had to use it one time. I returned a van which had the locking mechanism in one of the doors was malfunctioning, wouldn't work, was being pushed in or falling out, I forget which, but it wasn't working. And on the return end, he's speaking Spanish and I'm speaking English, and it's kind of looking like he's wanting to blame me for it, and yet it wasn't my fault. So I just pulled out my camera, my phone, and showed him, hey, this was on there when I got the vehicle, and then boom, everything was fine. He's like, okay, and all was good. So take pictures and video of that walk around, very important. Then we get the vehicle and we drive. Driving in Mexico is interesting. Watch for vehicles coming at you in the wrong lane. They like to pass when it's not necessarily appropriate to pass. You'll see some people speeding very excessively sometimes. But the Mayan Riviera is basically one highway with roads going left or right. And the beach is if you're heading south, the beach is to the left, about half a kilometer to a kilometer away. So it's very hard to get lost down there to any degree. And it's basically Highway 307, one road from Cancun all the way to Belize. So we usually rent a car that seats 5 people, some sort of little Toyota or Ford kind of thing, and we just load it up. If we got 7 people down there, well, we'll throw them all in there. We've even had the kids in the trunk. And before you think I'm a horrible parent, these were 20-year-old kids, and Mexican cars have a little lever in the trunk that you can pull. It glows in the dark, and you can pull it, and the trunk will pop open. So, stick the 20-year-olds in the trunk, and we just went a short distance. It wasn't like we were driving all over the place with it, but that's what we do. We've also rented vans because we bring down friends, relatives, neighbors, whoever, and we've had up to like 18 people there, and we've even met people at the Cancun airport, fellow Canadians that turns out we knew people that knew them, and so on, and we asked them to join us for a day, and they hopped in our van with us, and we had a great time. It's just the way we are. So we really enjoy the freedom the vehicle gives us, the mobility. We go to the grocery store because we always rent condos or apartments. Just that mobility. Hop in, drive around, go where you need to go. The cenotes, the ruins, the different beaches. We go down the Biosphere Road sometimes where there's like miles of beach and there'll be 6 people on it. So those are the reasons we like a car. We've never had an accident, so I'm not an expert on that part of it. From what I understand, though, if you have an accident under Mexican law, everybody stays together until the accident and insurance is all dealt with. So the policeman, you, and the other person, you're all together, whether that takes 2 hours or 2 days, you're together till it's all figured out. And the reason I like America Car Rental is they send a Spanish speaking person, obviously, to the accident scene to deal with all those issues. So you're not on your own should there be an accident. That's what they tell me. I've never had to do it. Another experience we had is I lost the keys one time for the vehicle. I had the key fob in a couple of Ziploc bags, and it was in my pocket while we're snorkeling, because we left all our wallets and phones and everything in the vehicle, but we needed the key, so I stick it in a double Ziploc bag, and I snorkeled with it. Well, I lost it in Acamel Bay. So what do? Well, thankfully, my son had $5 or $10, very soggy dollars in his pocket that my wife and son and his wife were able to take the collectivo back, which is like a van that you pay $1 or $2. They took it back home, which was in Puerto Aventuras, and I stayed in Acamel to deal with the situation. So I had to find a restaurant that would let me use their phone, go through the operator who speaks very rapid Spanish to try and find the correct number at America Car Rental to get them to come down. So this took hours, repeated phone calls, and finally 2-3 hours later they showed up with another key, and I was able to open the car and drive home. That whole event, key fobs are not cheap. It cost probably close to $300 by the time it was all said and done, because they charged me about $250 for the key fob plus tipping the driver and so on. So now we use lockers, and we lock our phones and wallets and everything up in the locker rather than in the car, all hidden up under the dashboards and whatnot. So maybe I'm just naive, and it's all fun till someone loses an eye, but we enjoy renting vehicles. My advice to you is be prepared, do your homework, talk to people, find out their experiences, find out which company they use. I personally just insure myself all the way. And lastly, have fun. Watch out for the topes. Mexicans, if they want you to slow down, they will put up a speed bump. And if you don't slow down the first time, there won't be a second time, because that speed bump will launch you like the Dukes of Hazzard, and you will destroy your undercarriage. So watch out for speed bumps. And most of all, have fun. We don't generally drive much at night. Just coming back from a restaurant or something, that's it. We don't do the bar scene. We don't do highways at night other than just on the main highway to get home. That's about it. And that's my other advice. Don't drive at night and stay out of the bars. That's where the problems are, security-wise and so on. So, yeah, have fun. Feel free to leave any comments or suggestions, questions below in the comment section, and we'll see you in next go.